I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 382. Welcome to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Hello, all my dear friends. And how are you today? I am having a marvelous day, I must say. I actually went for a hot, sweaty walk out in the woods today, and it was just so nice. I actually went with my sisters, Katie and Kim. I have 3 sisters. I went with 2 of them today, and we laughed and we talked, and we had so much fun. And then we went out to lunch at one of my favorite little coffee shops. And here I am now talking to you. How are you? I've got some interesting things that I want to talk to you about today, and I want to tell you why I want to talk about it. So my son, BJ, who is also my chief operating officer of my company, Dr. Deb Butler, amazing, isn't it? Like you never know. You all that are in your early 50s, those of you who have children, maybe they're already off and grown. Maybe they're in the middle of leaving, or maybe they're like me with my son. They're gone. Married, children, whatever it is, not in your house anymore. Anyhow, my son, whom I adore, in case you didn't know, and his wife, who is not really my daughter-in-law, but my daughter, but for all practical reasons, she's not blood, but feels like it. But my son is just amazing. He's got such a strong analytical brain. And he asked me a while ago if I would like help with my business. And I've never worked with him before. But I said, sure, because I always want to help him out or anything he wants, if there's any way I can help him. To make a long story short, I could not go fast enough once I started working with him because he's really capable of doing anything. He's got a mind that's amazing. He's very much into coaching. And he really has a way of looking at all the technology and all of my content and my message in a way that I actually don't do, which is interesting because I raised the kid, so you think I wouldn't be so surprised, but it's surprising to me. And he is, not only has he been a joy to raise, except for those moments, like all of us, but I can't believe that basically he's going to run my company and he is going to help me help you even more by getting more content out than I already have. So one of the things that he's helping me with now is I'm doing some videos on YouTube and he's recording them for me. And we're talking about ideas that we think you would like to hear. And then we're connecting him to the podcast like what I'm doing right now. So, hey, if you haven't gone over to YouTube, Dr. Deb Butler, check out my videos. And all of my videos are now connected to whatever I'm talking about on my podcast. So it's like you kind of get double the pleasure. The other thing is that I find so amazing about working with him is that he is, I don't know how to put it, because those of you who are still in the midst of raising your children, and those of you whose children are out of the house kind of know what I'm talking about. If you're having grandchildren or you're raising, wherever you are in your life, I started my whole journey where you are in my early 50s. And now that I'm edging towards the end of my 60s, I can tell you that what a beautiful ride it has been and what a surprise it has been. It's like I made so many changes in my early 50s, which is why it's so exciting. And I'm so passionate to talk to you about those of you who are in your early 50s going through menopause and challenges. But I want to show you how the challenges that you're facing right now really are opportunities. And I talk about this a lot, but the reason that I was talking about my son BJ and about his role in my company is that he said to me when I was doing my last video, I was just talking about how challenges can really be opportunities. And he said to me, Mom, why don't you explain that to me a little bit more? And what he was basically saying to me is that I think if you don't explain that, people don't understand what you mean. And then once I explained it to him, he said, you know what? You need to put that on a podcast and we need to put that on a YouTube video because that is a wonderful way of being able to look at the things that are hardest for you, right? Because things that are hard, you don't usually look at as an opportunity, positivity. You look at, oh, it's hard. Oh, I won't be able to do it. But what I want to offer you today is that the things that are the most challenging, if you're willing to stick with yourself through it and figure something out that you never knew before by staying with it, you learn something that you never knew before, which makes it easier. The next time something like that comes around, makes it actually easier for you to do it. And you have actually built skills inside of you that you never had before by going through something that was challenging. So I hope I'm making sense of this to you as I explained it to him, because that's why I'm doing this podcast. And I want to give you some examples of what could be a challenge and help you apply it to your life right now so that you can use the power of your mind to be able to have a different perception of things. So for instance, menopause. For many of you, myself included, menopause was challenging. It was challenging because my hormones weren't balanced. It was challenging because I wasn't sleeping at night. It was challenging because I couldn't lose weight. It was challenging because I was highly emotional. And it was challenging because of what I believed it might mean based on the culture that I've been raised in, which is, hey, babe, you're over the hill. The best is behind you. You're never going to have the body you wanted. You're never going to be able to do this. It's the end of the road for you. Kind of that type of thinking. And of course, it's when I started looking for new things as I was going through all of this, is like, you know what? I don't want to believe that. That doesn't feel good to me. And also at the same time, by my emotions being higher, by my body kind of showing me in a way that if you want to keep doing the things that you've been doing your whole life for the last 30 years, if this is the way you're trying to keep a thin body, you're going to have a hard time going through menopause, honey. And boy, isn't that the truth for all of you? That if you've been struggling with weight your whole life, like for me, since I've been 12 years old, and then I hit 52 and it's like, what's going on with the scale? Why am I so emotional? What's going on here? Why am I not sleeping? And the whole mindset that was kind of accompanying that because of what I've heard. I use that as a stepping board. It was a challenge. But now that I'm 15 years out of there, I can absolutely say that what I learned about that is that I'm stronger than I think, and that the problem that I've had with my body and food for the last 30 years was that I just needed to stop doing all those things that I was doing, depriving, restricting, trying to find the best diet, believing that I did not know what my body needed, believing that I didn't know my own hunger and fullness, believing that somebody else knew better than me. It was a wonderful opportunity to step in for myself and go, what if that's not true? And of course, as you know, everything I teach is because of those challenges that I went through. It did become an opportunity. Menopause was probably, out of everything that I've been through, menopause was probably one of my biggest challenges and my biggest opportunities, because look at me now. My son is working for me. Amazing. I have a business that I never thought I could ever have after running a chiropractic business and owning my business for 30 years. I never believed that I could find something that I'm actually more passionate about, create a bigger income, and have more fun and totally create my hours, work the way that I want. I thought I could do that in my chiropractic business, but I had to go to an office. I love not having to go to an office. I love that I can work whenever I want with whomever I want all over the world. I mean, seriously, pinch me. But hey, when I was in my 50s, early 50s, you needed to pinch me because I was ready to jump out of my skin. It was a challenge. And now, what I'm telling you, I used it as a springboard and I made it such an opportunity. Where I am now is I'm offering you the same thing because most of you that are listening to me are going through menopause. I know that. And what I'm saying to you is look what I developed through that challenge. You can do the same thing. You want to make menopause your biggest opportunity. And everything that's going on with you becomes that. How do you take care of it? How do you take care of your body as it's going through this? Once you learn how to take care of your body going through menopause, and you learn the tools that I've been teaching about how you get connected to your body, that will take you through the rest of your life. And I really call it, it's like the best way to age, proactive about aging, because you're willing to be connected to your body and you're willing to believe that the best is yet to come. And I am telling you, because I'm out of where you are, and I know some of you are listening to me are older than me or where I am, and a lot of you are younger than 50, but most of you are in your early 50s. I know that. And I am saying, hey, sweetheart, the best is yet to come. And this menopause thing can be one of your biggest opportunities to transform and create a life that you want out of the challenges that it's created for you. So remember that. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of opportunities and challenges, and just remember the reason that I'm actually talking about this is because my son asked me a question. I love his analytical mind. I thought everybody understood what I meant. And he was going, you need to explain it. And then once I explained it to him, it was such an aha moment for him. He says, please talk about it and explain it to everybody. They may not understand. Here's another challenge that I think, and it's very appropriate for the times that we're going in. I think two of the challenges that all of us has had is when this whole lockdown began. I mean, all of a sudden you weren't being able to do what you wanted to do. Many of us were locked up at home and couldn't go out. With children, we ended up with having to homeschool. If we didn't have children, maybe we were by ourselves and we were more lonely than ever. But whatever it was challenging. And what I saw with my clients, because I was very busy during this period of time, I had a very long waiting list, which I find fascinating. But it's really because what I was talking about in my podcast at that time is that we need to use this as an opportunity to get to know ourselves better. Because the things that pop up for many of us are the things that have been going on forever and ever, especially when it comes to food. If we feel more stressed, and what a lot of my clients in many sessions and people will say to me is, oh my gosh, I was just so close to the kitchen all the time. As if being close to the kitchen meant you had to eat. But when you learn how to manage your mind and you learn to know that it doesn't really matter if food is around you, it doesn't matter where the kitchen is, you're the one that decides if you're going to put food in your mouth or not. The kitchen where you're at makes no difference. But if you believed that because the kitchen was close or the kitchen was calling you or food was calling you, you know how many people tell me food calls them? But when you realize you're the one that decides if it goes in your mouth or not, there is no food in the world that makes that decision for you. Remember that. But when we were all in lockdown, I found that this challenge of being locked down and kind of having to be with yourself a lot more became an opportunity. And my clients actually flourished during this challenging time. And many of them, if you go to my transformation page or listen to any of their videos during this time, it was amazing for them because they learned how to be with themselves. which is really everything that I do. If you're working with me, if you're listening to my podcast, I'm really teaching you how to learn how to love yourself. I'm teaching you how to be with yourself. I'm teaching you how to have a relationship with yourself. Can you think of a better challenge than having to be with yourself more often, alone, or with other things that are more challenging? It could be an opportunity. And actually, it was for my clients. And I want you to see that might have been a challenge for you. It might not have been. But sometimes the things that seem the hardest, when we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? It does become an opportunity. Which brings me to the last challenge that I want to talk about, which is the end of lockdown, which is challenging in itself. And I've been talking a lot about on my podcast lately about the whole idea is how do you celebrate? How do you socialize without using food for emotional reasons? So you can see that the end of lockdown, as we're ending towards lockdown, and once again, I don't want to make light of lockdown. I know it was hard for everybody. I'm just showing you that some of these things and coming through them sometimes makes you feel stronger than you did before, which makes it an opportunity. So the same thing as when lockdown, as it's ending and you're starting to go out and you're starting to be with friends again. I've been talking about this on my podcast. I'm talking about in my YouTube videos about, hey, if you have that thinking about, hey, it's celebration time and food always goes with it because you believe that food is fun, food is freedom, that I can't do it without it, then this is a challenge for you that could become an opportunity. Because what I want you to see, as exciting as it is to get out again, that you want to learn from this, that you can go out, you can go on vacation, you can celebrate, and you don't have to overeat. That you can be totally connected to your body, totally connected to the people who are with you without overeating. And this then becomes an opportunity that you can learn. And this is, of course, one of my tools that I teach you is that you can have a total blast, so much fun without the food creating problems. When you can learn, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and know how to mindfully enjoy a joy eat or a joy drink, which is everything that I always teach. So there's more of that now. Yeah, there was less of it when we were in lockdown. Now there's more of it, and it's kind of like we've been let out. And if you have a mind that's been believing that food is part of fun, food is part of vacation, that I should disconnect from my body and I'll pay attention to it later. I'll start on Monday, I'll start on Tuesday, I'll start next week, but this is the fun, and you believe that you're missing out, then this becomes a challenge that you will make an opportunity. Because can you imagine, as my clients do all the time now, that they can go out, they can go on vacation, and food is just food and wine is just wine, and it's all just what it is. Boy, that's an opportunity. And I want you to use this time to notice its challenges, notice your brain chatter about what you're believing, that somehow there's something wrong with you and you have to either restrict or deprive yourself, or you're going to let it all go and you're not going to pay attention to anything. There is an in between. And the best place to learn it is when you have a mind that's going a little crazy right now because we're out of lockdown. Start watching it and start challenging yourself to be able to go out and listen to my podcast about all the tools that I teach, how to actually do that. There is a way. There is a process. And I teach it in my Thinner Peace program. It's a total process. So you can see I've gone through 3 different challenges that I am showing you have and could become an opportunity for you. And I want you to think about it this week. And while you're thinking about that, I want you to think about something else too. Did you know that I have had over 1 million downloads? I just can't even believe it. That when I started this whole thing, I didn't even know if anybody was going to listen. And now I'm 1 million downloads in. But this is one I want to ask you. I want to ask you a favor. I have so many downloads, but I don't have as many reviews. So if you are listening to this and you have not reviewed my podcast and you love it, please go to iTunes and review. And maybe it's a challenge. Maybe you're technically challenged. You don't know how to do that. Why don't you build a muscle? It's not that hard. I learned how to do it. I actually teach people how to do it. It's not that hard, and it would really be helpful. And of course, as always, I would never, ever end this with you always have an opportunity to be kind to yourself. And you always know when it is because whenever you're saying something to yourself that's not kind, you're going to feel bad. Make that an opportunity to be very, very kind to yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change. CHANGE.